Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel, A Magical Life with Aylah. Hello, I'm Aylah, and today we're going to be talking about the divine self. So let's get started. So you already know, because I've already told you, probably several times, that my channel is about magic from an energetic point of view. If we can understand magic from an energetic point of view, we can understand why it works and we can understand why it doesn't work. If we look at magic through an energetic point of view, we know that it's real and that it really does work, and that we are very powerful beings full of magic, full of potential and potentiality. So today's lesson is what I call a pivotal lesson. So I taught magic school with Rowan Tree Pagan Ministries for a number of years. And the first year, there was 4 years of magic school. And the first year of magic school was conditioning, is I guess, one word. But what I really wanted my students to get a hold of is who exactly they are in this universe. Because I've heard so many people over the course of my lifetime say, oh, I'm a gnat on the ass of the world. I'm nothing. In the grand scheme of things, I'm a little bitty tiny thing. None of that is true. So the pivotal lesson here is the divine self. Meditation is important because it teaches you how to interact and come together with the divine, to interface with the divine. But the divine self is really an explanation of who you are and what you're capable of. I've explained this idea to several people, and they look at me and they're like, yeah, okay, so? But then they go away and they think about it, and they come back sometime later and they're like, oh my gosh, wow. Okay, so if you don't get this right away, that's all right. Keep moving forward in your magic. This is important, but it may not be important for you right now. So the divine self came to me via the angels in the middle of a meditation. And I say that it came to me by the angels. They gave it to me because this was not an idea that was anywhere in my thought process at all. I couldn't have invented this in a million years. So I really felt like there was divine intervention, that there was a divine lesson here. And when I came out of the meditation, I really felt like the angels had given me this message. And when I tell people I have a message, I was born onto this planet with a message. My life has not been ideal. I have struggled just like the rest of you have. I've had things, illnesses that I've had to overcome. So it hasn't been a bed of roses. And I don't want you to think that, I'm this, cute little thing that's never had an issue with my life. I have struggled just like everybody else. And so when this message came to me by the angels, it really left me with a lot of questions. So let me explain to you quickly what they told me, And then we can talk about some questions, because I'm sure you're going to be like, but wait. Okay, so in our spiritual multiverse, there are many, many different layers of existence. We are just one. Okay, there's a layer below us. Religion has convinced us that the layer below us is some awful, terrible place that if you don't prescribe to a certain set of beliefs, you get to go to that place after you die. Actually, in pagan thought, the realm below us is that of Lilith. And Lilith is a beautiful, amazing, wonderful goddess, and she presides over the animals. So, like if your beloved cat or dog dies, then they get to go be with Lilith, and where they're pampered and loved and taken care of. Also in this realm is every creature that exists in the mind of humankind. So if you're writing a story about Loch Ness, or like myself, the stories that I'm writing right now have to do with the Fae. It is believed that this is an earthly realm. This is an earthly realm, so the vibration is thicker and denser. Now, when we talk about low vibration, you want to heal your vibration, you want to raise it up so that your magic is very powerful. When I talk about thick and dense vibration, this is not the same thing. This is something completely different. The realm of Lilith is very earthy. Trees, dirt, rocks, and lots of animals. It's a wonderful, amazing place. So that's the realm below us. Now, I hung some things up here to look at. When I teach this lesson, I teach it on a dry erase board, and when it comes to drawing, I'm like the worst artist, but I can draw the 4 levels that we want to primarily talk about today. The very top level, let me see, right here, it's a blank piece of paper. And what that represents is what some people call God, what some people call source energy, what some people call the creative force, what some people call dude, or, any number of names. It doesn't matter what you call this. This can never be offended. This can never be offended by human emotion. Okay. This right here, this top level represents, my piece of paper up here represents pure creative energy. It is a living, sentient being that takes of itself, pulls from itself, and creates what we consider to be matter. If you go back and you watch the energy lesson, you realize that nothing is solid. We call it matter. Matter sounds solid, but it's not. Okay, so this is God. This is God right here. This piece of paper represents pure creative source energy. Okay, underneath it is the realm of the angels. Now, I've read in some places that there's 7 different factions of angels. I read in other places that there are 9 different factions of angels. It doesn't matter. There are lots of different types of angels. They all have different jobs. None of them are more powerful than the other, but they look after different things. And I have read that this second realm underneath source energy is the angels. The realm of the angels. Now, how the realm of the angels came to be is that this source energy took of itself, it took some of its own energy, and it created the realm of the angels. So now stop and think for a minute. If the angels are made out of source energy, what are they? They're source energy, aren't they? They are an aspect of God. That's one way to say it. They are made of source energy. That's another way to say it. There are different ways of looking at this. And that's what happens with the angels. So now let's go down to this level right here, one step below the angels. This is the other side. This is what we call the other side. Some religions call it heaven. Some religions have, many other religions have different names for them. I can't think of any of them right now. Many of us pagans call this the other side. Many pagans call it the summer lands. Whatever you call it, this looks the same as this one right here. This is our earth right here. This is the other side. Okay, this is where we are originally from. And this is where we are this is where we are visiting right now, okay, as a student here on earth. This is our realm. Now you notice a little bit of difference in the two, okay? One's a little darker than the other one, right? Yeah. Okay. So, source energy created the angels out of itself. Then it took from itself again and created the other side. Okay? So everything on the other side you will find on this side. People, rocks, some animals, trees, mountains, sun, a solar system. Everything exists over there that exists over here. Okay? So this source energy, God, the dude, whatever you want to call it, took of itself again and created our realm, our world, our earth. This is ours. Now you notice that this one's a little brighter than this one is. This one's a little darker. What do we have on this side? Some of you more advanced students will know the answer to this. What do we have on this side that doesn't exist, I've been told, on the other side? We have on this side something called duality. Now, duality is a very, very powerful experience. So duality is good and bad, righteousness and evil, light and dark, low vibration, high vibration. It all exists here. It does not exist on the other side. So source energy took of itself and made the three realms below it, the angels, the other side, and us. So if everything on this realm is made out of source energy, then what are we? We are source energy, aren't we? Not the sum total of source energy. Now you get into megalomania when you start believing you're made out of source energy, but nobody else is. Everybody is. And here's the kicker. When I tell people this, they go, "Ugh, you know that neighbor next door you don't like?" I love both of my neighbors on both sides of us, but you may have a neighbor next door. I've had neighbors in the past that I did not like. I had one neighbor one time I thought was just as dumb as a box of rocks. And you know what? He's made out of source energy. Yeah, I had to wrap my head around that. So, if you accept this idea, and this is nothing more than an idea, this is what I saw in a meditation. And when I came out of the meditation, it felt like angelic energy had been there to deliver that message to me. So you can accept this or not. But if you accept this, it kind of causes a lot of questions. So like one question is, if I am made out of source energy, why am I so poor? Why am I so sick? Why am I so lonely? If the world is made out of source energy, why do we have wars and famine and murder and worse? How can that possibly be? Well, there's a flip side. We'll call it a flip side to source energy. And that flip side talks about divine life plan. Divine life plan is the idea that God does not micromanage us. God is not some bearded, angry old man sitting on a throne up in heaven. But instead, because we were created from source energy gave us completely and absolutely autonomy and sovereignty and independence. We are separate from it, although we are it. So we have free will. We have free will to go and live our lives as we choose. The beginning of our life actually started on the other side as we were planning this lifetime. So we plan it out. God doesn't plan it out for us. We plan out our birth, we plan out our death, and everything in between. Now, in between, we have a huge bunch of choices. There are some things I believe that we write in that can't be changed. We came here wanting to experience that thing, whatever it is that can't be changed. And so we made it non-negotiable. We made it that we had to come here, we had to experience that thing. For no other reason than we wanted to have the evolution from that. We wanted to get the evolutionary shift from that. Other times, we have mad choices in everything. We can change anything about our life. We can use our power as an aspect of God. Us pagans call that magic. If you're on another path, you might call it something else. But other aspects of our life, other things that we wrote in, we can change with our magic by changing the energy of that thing that exists in our reality. So this becomes a really complicated idea, the divine self, that it might not be so hard to understand the energy that we're made out of is the same energy as God. Okay. But then when you throw the idea of I might be poor because I wanted to experience this. And let me just say this. I think after a lifetime of experiencing something like poverty, at some point in that life, you may have a chance to overcome that. You may have written it down that you can overcome that. Some people believe that no matter what you wrote in your life plan, you can overcome that. You can change the energy of that through your magic. So you're going to have to decide what you believe. Okay, these are what I'm giving you here is nothing more than some ideas. So the question then becomes, why have I had such a shit show of a life if I am divine energy? That has a lot to do with what we wrote down. It has a lot to do, sometimes I think we wrote stuff down just so we could overcome it. Because, if you're sick for the first part of your life, you may not need to be sick for your entire life to have that experience, right? So this whole idea just creates a bunch of new questions. But it's a good, solid idea that we are all made of source energy. I think sometimes we have issues down here because we come down here and we get separated from the idea that we are God. You remember those little wristbands that were coming out for a while, and it said WWJD, what would Jesus do? If we stopped in every instance and we, let's say you're having an issue with a family member. If we stopped in every issue, we stopped beforehand, and we stopped to think, okay, if I am source energy, how would I approach this issue? How would I solve this issue? And I think if we start thinking in terms of, yes, I am. I just am. I understand that now, and I just am. We will begin to come at our problems a little differently. We will begin to come at our life a little differently. I look back over all of the things I've had to overcome in my life, and it's like, oh my gosh, thank goodness for that stuff, because that made me a really strong person, and it made me the person that I am today. I overcame. I found a way to connect with source energy, and I want to take that to the world. I want everybody to have the opportunity, if that's free will being what it is, if that's what you want. Um, Wars and famine, wars, let's talk about war for a minute, because there's always some war going on someplace in the world. Um, Again, these are people who um, have got separated from source energy and from the truth of source energy, and have gone this way. So what we've seen in the history of our world many times is this idea that I need to kill you because you don't agree with my idea of who God is. Now, does that sound very godly? Does that sound very source energy? I think that source energy is probably very variegated, meaning many, many different colors, many, many different ideas. We come from all over the world, from so many different countries. How could we all be the same? Why would source energy want us to all be the same? I don't think so. And so we get tangled up in these wars based on a person's skin color or their religious beliefs, or sometimes even the idea that they live in a different part of the world than us. Um, that's not what source energy would do. First of all, there's not an issue. There's not an issue with this variegation. I think source energy created it that way. So then we get into the idea of like racism or sexism. If there are two sexes, two genders, or many, don't you think that this is something that is coming through source energy? It gets very complicated. I know this. But it's something that is coming through source energy as an aspect, as an expression of source energy. So when you start looking at all the problems, we get separated. We get down here in this thick, dense jungle of a reality, and we get removed from the idea that we are part and parcel connected to the source. We are not sons and daughters of the source. We are the source. And I think especially the light workers, if you have a particular job, our job is to anchor light for the rest of the world so that the world can begin to, or continue to grow and evolve and heal itself. We need healing too. And the idea of the divine self is first and foremost meant to bring about healing. And then of you as a light worker, as a magical being, as an indigo child, or whatever title you use. And titles are okay. It's okay if you use a title. If we can all begin to think in this direction, what would source energy do? How would source energy solve this issue? Would it come from a direction of love? Would it come from a direction of knowledge and understanding? I think probably so. And many times, I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't know what the answer to how would source energy solve this issue, or what would source energy do. I don't know. So I get quiet and I go in and I meditate and I think about it. I don't try to solve it within my head, because my head is very logical. Our minds are very logical. Our minds are so logical that they get in the way of our hearts. But if we are 110% in our hearts, then we run ahead sometimes and we put ourselves in danger. So in the quest for really understanding source energy and being a part of that, we have to come into a place of balance. The most important thing about your life is that you are here living your life. Now we are here living our lives, and I know that I cannot live without a connection to spirit. I cannot. And so my longing for a connection with spirit has brought me to the place that I'm at now, has brought me to the practices that I have now. And so the divine self falls into a lesson of awareness. Okay, so here's a spiritual practice that I'm going to give you based on the idea of the divine self. I stated earlier that everything is made out of source energy, that this thing took of itself and it made the realm of the angels. It made the other side. It made this side, and all of us, and the animals and the rocks and the trees and the dirt and everything that exists. Okay? So a very powerful spiritual practice is what we call awareness, divine awareness. And this is the way you practice divine awareness is as you go throughout your day, you take a moment as every moment is coming to you, and you understand that whatever that is, whatever's happening, a conversation with another human being, that human being is source energy. You're at work. The desk that you sit at is source energy. The building that you're in is source energy. You walk outside and you see trees and leaves. And even if you see cement and blacktop, all of that is source energy. So this is the divine awareness practice. Take a moment as the moments are happening to you. And this is not something that you have to go, okay, wait everybody, wait. I need to take a moment of awareness. You can do this as you are moving throughout your day. You can do it silently, and nobody will ever even know that you're doing it. Every situation, every circumstance, every solid and not solid thing is divine energy, is source energy. You are source energy. So I hope this made a little bit of sense. If you have questions, be sure and put them in the comment section. I'm more than happy to answer questions. And if you have a thought or an idea, we can make a video out of it. So that's all for this week, and I will see you on... Oh, I won't see you on Wednesday. I'm going to make another video tomorrow for full moon in Cancer. So I will see you then. Blessed be.